Hello everybody, welcome to Izzy's Film Dojo, and here is my review for Frozen 2. And before I get into the review of this particular film, I want to go ahead and apologize in advance for not being able to have my YouTube channel updated periodically, and that has primarily been because of the fact that there's been a certain number of films that were released that didn't necessarily catch my attention, and I felt that even if I did watch them, they weren't necessarily warranted of a review. So that's really the only reason why that my YouTube channel has been severely lacking in the review department as of late. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details of this Frozen 2 review. I have to admit, full disclosure here, folks, I have not watched the first Frozen. I remember when it first came out, and I was very familiar with Elsa, Anna, Olaf. I was very familiar with those characters and the songs because I heard them everywhere, and I heard people talking about them everywhere. When the first Frozen was at its peak in its popularity phase, I guess I just didn't really get around to watching it because everyone was talking about it. So I guess at the time it wasn't really an interest to me. Once I found out that they were doing a sequel to the film and I saw the trailer, again, I was venturing more into the realm of it's not something that's very interesting to me, and maybe it's not something that I'm going to find myself watching. A coworker and several friends and reviews on Facebook and YouTube got me very curious about the film, so I felt it was my obligation to go ahead and check it out and see what the big fuss was about. And I have to say, even though I have not watched the first Frozen, and I will get to it eventually, I have to say I absolutely loved this film. It was absolutely amazing. Me being a music aficionado and having a deep appreciation for anything and all music, I have to say the songs in this film was just outstanding. It just had what it really reminded me of. Before I get into the plot details, what the songs were really reminded me of is how it just has this rock opera-ish, Queen-esque atmosphere to it. They were all just amazing songs. I was very surprised to find out that even though I'm not a fan of this band, I found out that I think it was the lead singer or someone from Panic at the Disco wrote the song Into the Unknown or Lost in the Woods, and I could not believe that he wrote that song. It literally just blew me away. Again, I apologize for my not familiarity in terms of Panic at the Disco and who wrote the particular songs, but either way, those songs were amazing. I absolutely love the music in this film. The plot of Frozen 2 involves Elsa becoming more concerned with the fact that her past coming back to her, and the film more or less explores the whole idea of past, grief, loss, and not only those particular elements that are very, very well a part of our normal everyday lives, and Disney is not shy in terms of promoting those particular messages. But when I found myself watching the film, I think what I really appreciated most about it was the fact that it was such a beautiful, majestic film. I love the whole symbolic nature of it. Almost has kind of like a Celtic, medievalish type of mythology to it, and how they were more or less, I guess, using concepts of the mystical enchantment force that just made me feel so immersed within that world. And the animation was just absolutely breathtaking. Again, I have not watched the first Frozen, folks, so my familiarity with the whole world was it was completely non-existent. I mean, absolutely non-existent coming from me. And I was so glad that I forced myself to watch this film because it meant a lot to me. It was so breathtakingly beautiful. The imagery, the animation was just pure divine, and just how it meshes well with the overall conceptual feel of the music just made it that much more breathtaking for me. The voice acting was beautiful as well. I mean, Kristen Bell as Anna did an amazing job. I mean, it's just I can't stress enough just how when I think about this film now in retrospect, I find myself just venturing into the idea, the reality that if you heard angels sing, if you approached the pearly gates of heaven and the gates opened up, and you just heard the melodic siren singing, that's exactly what Frozen 2 it spoke to me in terms of that particular idea was the fact that it's so divine and so heavily that it's almost as if that you really can't put it into words. With given the plot of Frozen 2, I was actually quite surprised at how dark it actually got. It wasn't afraid to venture into more depressing, dark, and important messages of loss, grief, separation, protection, and it was just one of those films where I felt that there was a lot of brilliant ideas within the confines of the storyline, but the problem was, and this is a slight negative, Frozen 2 could have actually used another 10 to 20 minutes in order to flesh out certain characters, certain story points, and it would have been the absolute perfect film. I mean, it was already close to perfection. Anyways, I think there was just certain creative ideas that I would have went into a different direction with, because there were certain moments where I found myself saying, okay, this is getting really good. This is getting amazing. And then they went into a completely different direction, and it more or less kind of, again, slight negative, but there wasn't anything that deterred my enjoyment of the overall film. And when I'm sitting there and I'm watching, I'm feeling myself getting emotional as well. There's a lot of emotional moments in this film. Not just emotional moments, but dark moments. And you just find yourself becoming that much more in your feelings with it. But then they tended to play it safe. And they went into a completely different realm that I felt lessened the emotional impact of what that particular moment was attempted to convey to the audience. But as a whole, from my own perspective, I loved Frozen 2. I thought it was absolutely amazing, just breathtakingly glorious and harmonious, and it's everything that I felt that an animation film should represent, in my opinion. And when you think about the whole idea, the whole concept of mystical force, enchantments, mystery, brooding, just exploring the unknown, if you will, and having that unknown not necessarily represent anything dark and depressing, but just having it be surrounding you with complete and utter beauty. And as I mentioned, the way that the animation used how they captured Elsa's powers and how she was using her powers to help her sister and help Kristoff and help Olaf and combat certain elements was just, I found myself just sitting there and being completely mesmerized by what I was watching. And aside from the lovely and emotional voice acting, I cannot stress enough just how, again, I did not know that Frozen had great songs like this. I mean, man, I was just completely and utterly just blown away by the music in and of itself. And once again, when it comes to music, I love any and all music. As long as it sounds good, I will enjoy it. Frozen, I think part of the main reason why that I actually really enjoyed the music is, as I said, me being a huge Queen fan. That was the immediate vibe I got from it when I'm listening to this song and I'm hearing the orchestral arrangements and I'm hearing the guitar melodies and the solos and the harmonies and the soaring vocals. It just really gave off that dramatic, theatrical feel to it, where it's just, wow, it's hitting all the right emotional beats and triumphant feelings, and man, just amazing amazing from beginning to end. I have to say, I think Elsa is probably my favorite Disney princess, Disney queen right now, and that's saying a lot for me. I've grown up watching Walt Disney Productions and Pixar, and it's just, you really just don't have. It's really, I have to say, it's amazing to just finally have a princess that's just, now it fits within the modern setting that they're attempted to set aside for the current generation, and I can understand that. I really do. You know, in my day, you know, we had Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Ariel. You know, those were the princess queens that I grew up watching as a child, and now this current generation has, you know, Elsa, and just Frozen 2. I can't stress enough just how much I enjoyed it. I plan on watching it again, and I will definitely watch the first Frozen now that I've actually gotten a feel for the universe, and I can't wait to see exactly what direction they're going to go into. But as I said, Frozen 2, great from beginning to end. 2 thumbs up, 5 out of 5. Could have used another 10 and 20 minutes to explore certain character development arrangements and conceptual ideas and past arrangements, but either way, not enough to make me feel that I wasted my time. Just an all-around great film for the family, great songs, great music, wonderful message, and beautiful animation. And I have to say, folks, I loved every second of it. I highly recommend it. Go watch it. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Provide a like. Let me know on my Facebook page what you thought about it. And my next review is going to be Knives Out, which I will be watching tomorrow. And after that, it will be Jumanji: The Next Level, Richard Jewell, and of course Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. That is my review for Frozen 2, folks. Once again, apologize in advance for not being up to date as much as I would like. I will get better with that, I promise. Either way, Frozen 2, 2 thumbs up, 5 out of 5. Provide a like. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Let me know on my Facebook what you thought about it. I will see you all again, my friends, and take care. Peace.